My name is Brooke Sullivan. I'm a senior talent acquisition consultant for Bottom Line Technologies. We're a global company. We're headquartered in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, but we have offices in 11 countries worldwide. And so we also have a site here in the Upper Valley where we have employees. We have data scientists and data researchers in this area, but we employ people all over. And so some of the things I want to talk with you guys about is how to look at the different talents that you can recruit locally or globally, what the market maybe currently looks like, which it doesn't sound like I need to update any of you on this. It sounds like you're pretty in tune with that, but we'll go over it briefly. And then also what flexibility might look like for you and your organization and how we may be thinking about the future workforce that you want to employ. So again, you can connect with me, that's my QR code. And again, I'd love to further the conversation. As a recruiter, I'm a nerd for recruitment. So if you want to have those conversations of how you can impact your organization and thinking about creatively attracting talent to you, I'm happy to have that dialogue. So talent acquisition, when I tell my friends from high school what this is, they're like, that's great. So like jazz and tap, Broadway theater. I'm like, so no. They change our titles all the time in HR, it seems like, but talent acquisition these days really means how to recruit and attract people to your organization. And so I used to do this at Dartmouth College as a recruiter there and previously with some other local businesses here in New Hampshire, but now I get to do it for a fintech company, which is really interesting. So things I hope you take away from me, I really want you to have a clear picture of the current and future workforce, which again, you guys are subject matter experts there, but also how to best attract talent to your organization. And then if you're in this room and you're thinking about your next career opportunity, how do you find that organization that's really going to align with the values that you're seeking for your next role? So again, we talked about this a little bit. Unemployment is significantly low, both here in New Hampshire and Vermont and Massachusetts. What does that mean? It means the person that you want at your organization is already working. They have a job, they're engaged in a workforce that they're already in, so how do you get them to kind of jump ship or think about you as an opportunity? The other thing to highlight is that this year we're graduating a lot of people from associates, bachelor's, master's, but it's significantly lower than in years past. So that skills conversation that you guys were talking about earlier is a little harder as well. Yes, they're coming out with degrees and they're having all this education, or maybe the current workforce is continuing their education, which is really great. But again, how do you capture that audience? And then here in New Hampshire, we're one of the best states to retire in, which is awesome because it's beautiful and we all love living here. But that also means we have a significant amount of our workforce that is looking or potentially able to retire this year. So that's a part of your business that could be leaving with a ton of expertise, knowledge, and skills that you have to then try and replace. So it's high risk, right? So this was from the Harvard Business Review, and it categorized, and I like to talk in generalizations. If you're in these categories, do not take this personally. This is not you necessarily, but these were just areas that they found themes for each generation. I think it might be a little hard to see with the color in there, but so the traditionalists, these are the 5 generations that are still currently in the workforce in the state of New Hampshire and today for the market. And so you have traditionalists, baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, Gen Y, and Gen Z that are now coming into the job market. And so the themes that a lot of these generations in the workforce are seeing are along the bottom here. So our traditionalists who are still in the workforce are highly dedicated. They've been in their organization for several years. They want to continue that as well, or maybe they want to stay with what they've currently done. Again, broad sweeping generalization, so if you're in these categories. Baby boomers are highly team-oriented. They really want all the boats to float as the water is rising, and they're very much wanting to keep teams engaged in the workforce. A lot of leadership is in that area as well. Gen X, heavily self-reliant. They came up in an age where the political climate was a little rocky, so they much more went inward for their talents and how to contribute to organizations. Millennials as well, heavily tech-savvy, but also thinking about how that they've come up in an age where they've always had the internet. Computers were always readily available, and cell phones are heavily attached. And then you have Gen Z, who are highly passionate individuals where they're looking to join organizations that have missions, that have statements where they can really have the dream job that they're ideally looking for in the market. So the workforce of 2020, what we're coming into, and again, this is from the Harvard Business Review. If you want the link, I can certainly send it to you. But 36% of our workforce will be comprised of Gen Z in the next year. This is a little lower for the state of New Hampshire, but still a significant number to be thinking about. So these are some of their key motivators that they're looking for as they're thinking about their next job opportunities. And surprisingly, a large one is money. So again, they're coming of age in a time when the recession happened. So they watch their families lose homes, they watch their families lose jobs. So for them, when they're thinking about joining an organization, they really are thinking about, I want the best offer when I go into a new organization. So they are thinking about money. Passion is very heavily the next thing for them. They're thinking, I want to join an organization where I feel passionate about my job. I want to really contribute to something I'm really interested in. They love puzzles and challenges and thinking about how they can look at the larger picture and not just their job title. So if their job title is receptionist, can they wear multiple hats? Can they do event planning within that organization? Can they take on the organization's calendar? And if there are other things you can add to their job description to grow their role. And then healthcare, which seems interesting that would be one of the things. But it is, again, part of that stability that they're looking for. Again, they're coming of age during that recession, that time period where it was uneasy. And so healthcare is a significant thing. So some of the job offers that you're going to be giving to this generation, they're going to be asking you about your healthcare benefits or what you offer as an organization for wellness programs. Maybe you have insurance for dogs or pets. They actually ask these questions. As a recruiter, I get them asked all the time. So these are some things to be thinking about when you're trying to attract that Gen Z. And then millennials as well will make up 75% of our current workforce. It's a little lower, again, for the state of New Hampshire for our age demographic, but a key thing to be thinking about is they're looking for flexibility often. They're looking for remote opportunities. They're very much thinking about the outside of the work that they want to have with their families, their organizations. They want to make it to their kids' baseball game. Their job does not necessarily become their top priority. So they're thinking about flexibility and how they can make their job fit in with their life. Feedback, they want it a lot and often. So they're looking for positive, negative, whatever they can get, but also thinking about they want it all the time. How are we doing? What is my job doing? Can I help you? Can I do this better? They're always looking for that feedback. Authenticity is huge, and this is something we'll get into a little further, but they're looking for organizations that aren't hiding where their flaws are or where their successes are. And then again, technology is a big one. They're looking for organizations that have technology. So attracting your future workforce, they're on social media. Those two generations, they're out there. They're on Glassdoor, they're on Twitter, they're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram. If there's a social media channel, they're reviewing you. So before they're coming in for an interview, they're looking you up on these platforms. If you're a smaller business and maybe not on any of these, or a larger business and on them and you're not in control of those social channels around your employment brand, it's something to be thinking about. What is the view of our organization out there? What do we currently look like to someone just looking us up? Googling yourself. Agile work environments. And I put work environments in quotes because, again, the current workforce is looking for that flexibility. So their work environment is going to be really different than the 9 to 5 sitting at a desk in a cubicle kind of space. They want standing desks. They want ergonomic assessments. They're looking for potential walking outdoor space, windows where they can see the light and look out for fresh air. Things along those lines. Even their home space, you want to be thinking about how to engage a remote workforce. Being proactive. So because it is such a competitive market, if you've been in sales, ABC and always be clothing, well, it's recruiting. It's always be recruiting. Whenever you're at an event, how do you network with someone? How do you connect with someone? One thing that we've flipped in our organization is actually when our new hires come on board, we're asking them for referrals right away. You just left an organization and you just told all of your coworkers you were leaving to come to us, and you probably said great things about your new employer because you're like, I'm out and that place is awesome, see you later. That's a great opportunity for us to then glob onto that person and say, okay, who else do you know that you want to bring with you? We just hired a director of finance, and that person, we were like, okay, who else do you know? Can we bring 4 more people with you? And we did. We brought 4 more people from his organization back to ours as well. There's always these ways that you can be recruiting or thinking about how to recruit more intentionally. And then what can you offer? And so these are some of the things that recently, and I'm looking at time too, so that you can potentially offer. So is your company easy to apply to? Is it easy to get to? Are you looking at someone's skills versus just the job title that you can offer them? What's the environment look like? Can you offer mentorship? So these are some of the things you're thinking that you can offer that maybe won't hit your bottom line, but you can impact your cultural organization. And then finding your next employer, same thing. When you're on the reverse of that as a candidate looking for your next opportunity, are you going to Glassdoor? Are you looking for the authentic message that's going to help you find that piece that's going to make that an impactful experience for you as an employer? What are the social presence? Have you looked at the CEO or CFO's profile on LinkedIn? What do other people say about them? And so that's the future of workforce.